Hello everyone, just got home from fishing 3 days on the Harris Chain Lakes at the Toyota Series MLF and ended up finishing 5th place. So I received a lot of requests on, hey, why don't you tell us how you did it, how you broke down the lakes, and what rods and reels combos you use along with the baits. So because there's so much information, I'm gonna break it down to a couple of different videos. So in this one, I'm gonna break down the rods and reels I used and the different baits and why I use those baits. So let's get right into it. Okay, first of all, it was windy conditions when I was fishing Harris. So I'd switched to a spinner bait. I wanted a lot of flash in the water. Also, the water clarity wasn't clear. I had a little bit of muddy water. So I wanted to make sure I got that good flash to get that reaction bite. So I started using a spinner bait, and I used a Zoom Fluke Junior as the trailer, upside down to get a little extra vibration. And again, I was using that white with just a little bit of flash in it. Also was ripping 3 different types of chatterbaits through, the jackhammer and then the regular chatterbait. And what I was doing was I was changing up the size depending on how thick the grass was. I had a 1/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce, and a little bit heavier tied on. And my trailer was again the Fluke Junior. I like those on there. The Zoom makes a good product, and it has a pretty good moving tail on the back end of it. Also was ripping a lipless crankbait through. This is the Booyah one knocker. I got the chrome with the blue top on the top of it. Changed out the hooks, a little heavier hooks on there because I was catching bigger fish. But I was ripping this through the grass early morning, getting good bites. Also was dragging a worm through. So I had several different types of worms. Magnum speed worm seemed to be working really well. I had multiple different colors that I was working. And then what I was doing was changing up the weights. So I would go with heavier weights. I was using a 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce to get through that heavier hydrilla. And I also had one rigged up with weightless. I was dragging that over the top of the thicker grass and getting the strikes on top. I was getting the fish coming out of the grass and exploding on the top. Also used the swim jig. So the swim jig, I was using dirty jig. That's my favorite one. It has 2 different colors. I was using black and blue, and I was using the white. I got way more bites on the white. Again, my trailer, I was using the Zoom Fluke Junior. That was working well, and I had my biggest one, my 9-pounder that got off was on this. I changed it to a heavier rod, which I'll go with rods here in a little bit, but once I changed to the Denali Attacks, this is a heavy rod, I started getting the better hookup. And then last but not least, I was using the Flashy Swimmer, which is just a little blade on the bottom of the bait of the swim bait. I was using that, and I was using 3 different colors, that rotating those out, and they were working good throughout the day. Again, I was kind of watching the sun. We got some days we had sun, some days we didn't. We had the cloud cover, and I was changing as needed, changing my baits out, adjusting to the different weather changes. So real quick, let's go over the rods. So I'm using the Triad. That's my most popular, used with the crankbaits or any moving baits. I like the 7.6. This is their crank conversion, which is the medium heavy. It's parabolic bend, has really good action to it. But my spinner baits, my chatter baits, and my crankbaits, my lipless crankbaits, this is the rod I was using. My reels, I was using the Lew's MPs. So I like the Lew's MP. This is the 7.5-to-1. I was using fluorocarbon. I like the Cigar 20-pound braid or fluorocarbon. That's what I like to use on these. And again, these have really good action, really good feel. And I was able to get those fish in quickly. As far as my worms, I was using 65-pound braid. And a lot of people were saying, hey, you got to use thinner fluorocarbon. The fish can hear it, they can see it. That was not true at all. I had 2 17-pound bags, and the majority of those fish were actually caught on the 65-pound braid. So it didn't have any impact at all on my fish. But I was using the SLX. This has 8-to-1 ratio. But I could crank those fish quickly over top of the hydrilla and get them in. My rod, I was using a 7.6 medium heavy. This is the Bass Pro Carbon Light. And then I also was using the Hack Attack speed stick. And this was a 7.4 heavy. And I was using the Speed Spool by Lew's reel for the other worm rod. For my swim jig, I was actually using a fluorocarbon 20-pound, and I was using the Tournament MP Lew's. And then for my swim jig, I was using the Super Duty Lew's reel for that, and I was also using fluorocarbon for my underspinner. So hopefully this helps you out. Again, these were just the baits I was using. There was a lot of different stuff used out there for this tournament. This worked well for me. I was keeping it simple and making sure I rotated out my colors. If I had a pause an hour without a bite, I change the color and start picking up extra bites. So again, please subscribe, please follow, please watch my other videos I'll be posting here to show you how I broke down the lake. And thanks again. Thanks for watching.